this. So if you have to jump off, and Bill is already starting. So this is great. Just a couple of housekeeping matters really quickly. You are entering the meeting muted. If you need to ask a question, you can unmute yourself, but also feel free, like Bill just did, to use the chat feature for any comments or questions, and we will do our best to get to everything. At the end of it, we will, do you need me? She did. Sorry, that was my husband. He's chiming in. I'm good. We can use the chat feature for questions and answers. Also, I am going to be recording this. So if you have to jump off early for whatever reason, no worries. I will follow up with an email in a day or so with the full recording that you can pass along to your biking buddies. So I think with that, I wonder if we should see if there's anybody else or get rolling. All right, I think we're going to get rolling, and I'll just let people in. Sorry, I'm kind of new at this, so appreciate your patience. Oh, actually, we've got more. Sorry. Awesome. Glad to see everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Grab a little cocktail. Today is National Dark and Stormy Day, so I've decided to celebrate. We are here to talk about Trek. I am Kim Ennis. I am a leisure travel consultant with Classic Travel and Tours. Classic Travel, if you don't know, is a travel agency that's based in Richmond, Virginia. We have agents across the country. We have corporate and leisure clients. We've been in business for 26 years now. I do believe this year has probably been the most interesting one. It's been a doozy for sure. Hang on, I've got a couple more people. Sorry, they keep joining in. This is a good thing though. Okay, thanks. For those that missed it already, the housekeeping, if you have something you want to just chat, just send that and I'll do my best to respond, or to get Lindsay to respond at some point during the presentation this evening. But as I said, Classic Travel, we've been around for a bit, and we're really excited to have Lindsay here this evening. I mean, wow, what a year 2020 has been. It's been a year filled with challenges and changes for many of us. I think one of the biggest changes have been adjusting to working out of the house and doing everything in the same four walls 24/7. Thank goodness for our bikes, so we can get out and get a bit of fresh air. So that's been kind of nice. One thing I have noticed that hasn't changed is our love of travel. And I think more so now than any time, people are itching to get out of these same four walls that we've been in for a few months now, and just looking and dreaming of challenge of traveling. So please just kind of enjoy this now. Let's see, what can I tell you? The one thing that has changed with travel is how we look at it. Obviously, in the industry, we are trying to take into account the variables to keep us safe, keep us healthy. And to that end, I'm really excited to introduce Lindsay Julie with Trek Travel, live from Minneapolis. Lindsay is a travel advisor, program manager with Trek Travel. She has been with the company for 7 years, and the lucky duck has already been on 5 Trek Travel trips. I'm a little jealous on that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the reins over to Lindsay, and we'll hear more about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim, and thank you all for attending. Again, my name is Lindsay, and Kim, just to make sure that this is being recorded, so if you do need to hop off early, feel free, and I'm sure Kim will get you that recording once it's available. So just to start out with, just to give you a little bit about our background on who Trek Travel is. So for those who are unfamiliar with us, we actually were started by the president of Trek Bikes, if you're familiar with the bike brand, by John Burke, who is still the current president of Trek Bikes. He actually went on a cycling vacation himself many years ago, back in the early 2000s, and he had an amazing time, but he really knew that he could put together something more elaborate and with better bikes, just due to his resources at Trek Bicycle. So he put together a team which includes our current president, Tanya Burke, and yes, they are related, they are married. So we have been running trips since 2002. Our first destinations were in California wine country and Tuscany, and have since expanded to over 60 destinations globally around the world. So this is a map of just a few of our destinations that we offer, and we can even put together custom trips if there's something that you don't see here in terms of a location that you've been dreaming about. So I'll get into that a little bit later. So just a kind of recap of some things I'm going to go through today. These are just things that I think are things you should really be considering when you're looking to take a cycling vacation and looking at selecting an operator. So I'm just going to go through a few of these categories and how Trek Travel has sort of positioned ourselves as sort of the cycling experts and sort of the best in the industry for these active vacations. And just a fun tidbit, this picture is actually of my dad at the back of his head on our recent Costa Brava trip in Spain last fall. So he's super excited that he gets to be a celebrity. So I'll make sure to pass that along to him. So the first thing I really want to highlight is, you know, most of our trips are going to be 6 days and 5 nights in length, and they are all cycling vacations. At least you'll be cycling at least a few of those days, if not every day. And because of that, we do rank our trips on a scale of 1 through 4 in terms of difficulty, 1 being leisure level and 4 being avid. And so we have descriptions on our website, and I know the print's a little bit tiny on here, so I apologize if you can't read it quite that well, but we will ask you to self-select according to our rider level descriptions so that we can really gear you towards the appropriate trip for you based on that rider level. But by no means should you feel locked into, if you're a level 2 rider like myself, that doesn't mean that I can't do a level 3 trip. It just might mean that, you know, out of the 2 to 3 different riding options we will have on offer each day, I might be doing the shorter option each day instead of one of the longer options to sort of make it more in line with my recreational rider level. Or if you are like me and love the fun e-bikes that offer pedal assist, that can really get you up a level in trips as well. That just allow you to go further than you normally would be able to. So we use this more as a guideline, not, you know, in absolute, but it can at least give you a good idea of what to expect in terms of, you know, how many miles you're going to be doing each day on average and how much elevation gain. So speaking of the bikes, you know, because of our relationship with Trek Bicycle, we do provide the most high-end bikes out of any operator. So our standard included road bike option for all of our trips would be the Trek Domani SL7. It is a fully carbon frame, really lightweight road bike, and does come with electronic shifting, which if you've never tried it before, it's just like shifting with a click of a mouse button. So it just really makes it smooth and seamless as you shift and allows you to shift a little bit faster than a mechanical shift would do. And there's less issues with skipping a gear, for example, when you have electronic shifting. So that comes standard included in the trip price, no extra upgrade charge for that. We also do provide daytime running lights on the bike, so your safety is obviously our #1 priority. And then we provide you with helmets. You know, they're actually the brand new Bontrager Wave Cell helmets, which are the technology Trek has been working on for the past 10 years, and it basically makes it 22 times less likely for you to get a concussion should you fall off a bike, God forbid, and hit your head. So really want to, again, emphasize the safety factor on these trips. We also do provide you with a Garmin that'll have all the turn-by-turn directions preloaded on there for you, so you don't need to worry about carrying any paper route guides or anything like that. And if you're like me, I'm a very slow rider, so I like to stop and take photos and really take my time on the trip. And with that Garmin, I don't need to worry about, you know, riding with the group or you know, trying to keep a certain pace, because you all get to ride at your own pace. So that's really nice that you don't need to worry about getting lost with those Garmins. The other bikes that we have on offer are our electric assist e-bikes that offer pedal assist, as I mentioned before. It's just a really great equalizer, especially, let's say, you know, you're a couple traveling together and one person maybe is either a stronger rider than the other, or maybe one of you is a non-rider and just wants to maybe get out for a day or two to try, you know, doing a little bit of cycling. It's a great tool to be able to allow you to go further than you normally would be able to, as well as keep a more consistent pace. And it is by no means a moped. You still get a great workout. You do have to pedal in order for the assist to sort of kick in. So, you know, you'll definitely still walk away feeling like you deserved those extra calories that you get to eat, you know, on the meal, which is the best part, in my opinion, about traveling, is getting to eat all the food and not feel guilty about it when you travel this way. We do have a hybrid version of the electric assist e-bikes. That's pretty much on offer for a majority of our trips. And then we also have an optional upgrade option to the Trek Domani Plus, which is an additional $500 upgrade charge. And that is sort of the road bike version of the e-bike, and is sort of the high caliber e-bike level that is for those who kind of want to put in 90% of the effort, but just want to have, you know, that little extra 10% boost. Whereas the e-bike is really truly meant for those who are beginner cyclists, you know, looking to get either a little or a lot of assist. Another thing that we really pride ourselves on having are, you know, the world's best guides. Inc. magazine actually ranked us as having the world's toughest hiring process, because we really put our guides through the ringer when they're hiring, or we're hiring. So that's everything from putting them through a series of Skype interviews with members of our team before we even meet them. They have to then come to Madison, Wisconsin, where our head office is located, where they participate in a full day hiring event with our entire team. And we test them on their mechanic skills. We test them on their interpersonal skills. You know, how do they hold a conversation with strangers? We put them in tough role playing situations. We even make them make us a delicious picnic lunch together, kind of like an Iron Chef challenge. And after that, if they make it past that step, they go out to California for 2 weeks for a training. And only after that do they get their offer letter, if they make it through that 2-week training period. So it really weeds out those who are not so serious about guiding, and really leaves the best of the best to deliver the experience of a lifetime for you. Another thing that's important in this day and age, and you know, is really helpful just in terms of planning for your trip, is that most of our trips are guaranteed even after one person is booked. So once you have a deposit down on a trip, you can feel free to move forward with any of your travel plans. You know, I know Classic Travel can assist you with booking, you know, any flights or pre or post accommodation, or any independent travel that you want to do before and after. So us guaranteeing it is basically allowing you to, you know, get a head start of making those travel arrangements. Another thing that is really nice when you're traveling with us is we really have the motto of your day you decide when you're on vacation with us. And that means that, you know, throughout the day, so there'll be 2 to 3 different riding options for you to choose from that'll range from a shorter to a longer option. But outside of that, if there's maybe one day where you're just kind of feeling gassed and you'd rather just take a day off the bike and go explore on your own, totally fine. And the guides are happy to give you some great recommendations for what to check out in town. Or there's a lot of the hotels that we stay at have really nice spas on site, or pools that you can relax by. So if you want to do a short ride in the morning and then kind of take the afternoon off and just relax, there's a lot of flexibility built into your day, so that you can really pick and choose what you want to do. Since it's vacation, we're obviously not going to force you to cycle if you don't want to cycle. So a few of our different trip styles that we have on offer. So our trips will fall into 2 separate buckets. One will be Explorer level and one is luxury. So Explorer level trips are going to be staying at more 3 to 4 star boutique properties and have less meals and activities already wrapped into the trip cost, so that you can really pick and choose what you want to do for the trip. You know, for example, you know, a lot of our national park trips will fall into this category. And, I've done a couple of those, and what's nice is that, if I just want to spend the afternoon independent with the group outside of the group without, just to get some me time, it allows you to have that flexibility to do that and not feel like you're missing out on some, scheduled activity that is already wrapped into the trip. So it's really nice for if you are like me and don't want every aspect of your trip planned out in advance. Um, and then we have our luxury trips, which are staying at more 4 to 5 star elevated accommodations that have a little bit more amenities on site. And they're truly inclusive experiences. So a majority of your meals and activities will already be wrapped into the trip cost. So if you are like my dad and just love to have, everything covered and not have to pull out your wallet as much on the trip itself, a luxury trip is the great way to go. And a lot of our more popular destinations are kind of your iconic cycling destinations like Costa Brava and Provence and in Spain and in France, as well as Tuscany. Um, they're just really meant for getting some great R&R time, and as well as having more elevated dining experiences. So you might be dining at a Michelin-starred restaurant or having a farm-to-table meal. So definitely a high caliber of food and wine featured on those luxury trips. And then outside of those two buckets, so some of the trips that we have on offer, and a few of these are actually new in this past year. So because of everything going on with COVID-19, we actually did expand our self-guided collection this year. And so what that means is you're getting basically everything, all the logistics taken care of for your trip, but you'll be without our typical two Trek travel guides that would be on one of our guided trips. So we take care of your bikes, obviously. We take care of your accommodation, a few of your meals, typically 1 to 2 activities that we'll include, and all of your luggage transfers. And then we provide you with the Garmins, and then you still have an emergency contact on the ground, just in case anything happens that you can get in touch with should you have any bike issues or you need emergency help. We have our cross-country trip, which is a big, epic 42-day journey that we will run once a year. This year it's the southern route, which will run from Santa Barbara to Myrtle Beach. And then next year it'll be from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine. So total bucket list experience. You're basically doing a century ride per day. And some people will book it far out and train for the trip and not necessarily even have a big cycling background, but maybe want to do it as a fundraiser or to raise awareness on something. And then there's others who are just diehard cyclists who really want to, give themselves the next challenge. We are an official operator for the Tour de France and all of the major pro races. And yes, we are still running our Tour de France trips with the adjusted dates that are happening now in late August and through September. So these trips are, again, a great bucket list experience because we're really putting you right in the heart of the action for the tour. So our guests get special VIP passes to do things like ride across the race course before the pros come through and get to take pictures on the podium. They also get to get special VIP access right by the stage finish lines to see the riders as they come past. We'll even do meet and greets with the Trek Segafredo Pro Racing team, so you can grab some autographs and ask them some Q&As. So very unique, and we're one of a very small handful of operators that are an official operator for the tour. And other lesser known races like the Giro d'Italia, the Strade Bianche in Italy, what else am I missing that are big? The Vuelta in Spain. Those are all some examples of other race trips that we offer that give you that same VIP access. We also offer ride camps, which are a stripped down version of our classic vacations and are just solely focused on the riding. And these are going to be in warm weather destinations and just based at one hotel for the entirety of the week. And they're really great if you want to keep in shape in the off season or maybe prepare for a race. They're definitely geared towards an avid rider who just wants to go grind some miles and get in some great elevation gain. We do have multi-sport trips that combine both cycling as well as other fun activities off the bike, like kayaking or whitewater rafting or hiking. And so those are really perfect if you have maybe a group of people who might not all be cyclists, but still want to be active on their vacation. It's a great tool for them to be able to kind of pick and choose if they want to do the cycling some days, but then maybe they want to do some of these other included activities. It's a great way to kind of please everybody. And then lastly, we have private, custom, and even a la carte trips. And what that means is private is basically taking over one of our existing trips and making it private just to your group. And so for all 2020 trips, if you want to make a trip private, as long as that date's available, you can actually make it private at no extra cost for your group once you hit a group size of 6 or more. So perfect if you just want to have something a little bit more intimate. And then custom would be entirely customizing an itinerary, whether that's special dates for your group or maybe just starting from scratch and putting together a trip in a destination that we don't currently offer. And then a la carte is basically, this is new for us for 2020 as well. And this is kind of just picking and choosing what you are looking for to book. So it could just be maybe you have accommodation already arranged and you just want bike rentals, or maybe you just need a guide for the day. You already have your bikes because you're driving to a destination. So we can work with you on pricing based on what you're looking for, and we can kind of piece together you know, different options for you and your friends and family. So when you're on the trip with us, a few things that you can expect to be included. So again, we'll provide that Garmin that'll have all those turn-by-turn directions. You'll have typically 2 Trek travel guides who will be supporting you throughout the day. One is typically on the bikes with you, and then the other is in a support van making sweeps on the route as well. And that van will be pulled over every 10 miles or so with a really nice snack table out for you to refuel, and they'll refill your water bottles. And then in between those stops, if you need anything, as the van passes, you just stick out your arm and the van will pull over at the next safest spot to do so to get you what you need. We'll include majority of your meals, all of your snacks and drinks for each day's ride. We provide you with the water bottles, a cinch sack, everything that basically you need to ride during the day. Basically, the only thing that you would really need to pack is if you have special pedals that you use for clipping in. We'll have you bring your pedals and your shoes, and then the guides will install those pedals on the first day of the trip to make sure that your clips fit you well. But if you don't clip in when you ride, that's totally fine. We have flat or cage pedals that we can provide, and special Shimano brand SPD pedals if you don't have sort of more specific clipless pedals than that. Another great thing that you can use for a resource as you're preparing for these trips. So let's say maybe you're not sure if you want the Domane road bike option or one of the e-bike options before the trip, and you really want to go in and get a test ride. We have a whole network of connections to Trek dealerships and bike shops around globally, really, but tons in the US. And they can really serve as to not only give you some test rides so that you can figure out maybe which bike frame size might be best for you, but they also can be a great resource if you need gear to purchase before the trip. We do send you a Trek Travel jersey for most of our trips beforehand, but if you need other things like bike shorts or, you know, riding gloves or, you know, anything that you might want to have with you for the trip, they can be a great resource for that. And then when you travel with Trek Travel, you actually get a coupon to use for up to $500 off a purchase of a Trek bike. So, because a lot of times when people travel with us, they may or may not fall in love with the bike, and then they want to come home and buy one for themselves. So it's just a great resource, and you know, most people will have these in your local area. I know Richmond. I'm not sure which. I don't know the store names offhand, but I do know that there are some right in the Richmond area there. And then as far as preparing for these trips, we have a lot of really great resources on our website as well. Let's say you're booking a trip for next year and maybe it's a rider level up than what you'd be typically comfortable with and you want to train for that trip. So we have both a partnership with Zwift, which is an app that you can use to hook up to a smart trainer, especially for when we've all been quarantined, if you've been riding at home in the inside versus outside. It's a great way. It's a virtual reality world, and we'll host rides. And those are posted on our website under our training tab. And they're just really informal ways to kind of chat with others and kind of compete against one another, and it will sort of give you a fake reality to ride around. If you're looking for more personalized training, we have a partnership with both Fit for Trips as well as Vision Quest, and those are two companies that will actually tailor make a training plan for you based on the trip that you're taking and how many miles that you want to do per day. And they'll let you know exactly how many miles you should be doing and what the schedule is. So just let us know if you want assistance with that, because we're happy to give you the recommendations and how to train for specific trips. And so just to, because I know that this might be on a few of your minds, obviously with the new reality that we are in with COVID-19. So I'm really excited to say our first trip that we've run post-COVID started yesterday in South Dakota for our Under Canvas trip, which is a glamping trip. And so we are super excited to get people back out on the bikes, but obviously still keeping safety a number one concern. So what we've really done on our end to make you feel comfortable is we have put in place a very flexible cancellation policy for all of our 2020 trips. So if you do want to travel this year but are still just unsure about how things are going to shake out, you basically have up until 48 hours prior to departure to cancel and still get 100% future trip credit to use with us towards another trip with no expiration date. Obviously, if we had to cancel the trip due to safety concerns, then you would be eligible for either a full refund or full future trip credit. We've also reduced our shuttle van capacity so that people will be able to spread out more for any required shuttling on our trips. And then for dining options, as obviously each state is a little bit different in terms of how their restaurants are set up and if they're still, having indoor dining or if they're just doing outdoor dining, but we are giving our guests more flexibility and just, if you'd prefer to have your own private table, we are happy to arrange that for you instead of dining as a group. We also have rolled out our, more enhanced trip offerings for a la carte and self-guided options for people who would rather just kind of do their own thing and travel without a group. We've increased our sanitation practices, and guides will be required to wear masks and gloves when servicing bikes as well as doing any food prep. Cloth masks will be required in the support van when you're being shuttled. And then we have a whole checklist that we have put together for our hotel and our outfitter partners so that we can make sure that they're maintaining the same level of quality and safety that we are delivering on our end. So there's a lot that we're doing. I mean, we're certainly, again, operating this new normal. Trips won't look exactly like they did in the past, for at least for the next couple months. But, if you have any questions on that, pop them in the chat and we can chat about that in a few minutes when we wrap up. So what's next? The fun part. So definitely go to trektravel.com to explore our different destinations that we have on offer. We definitely still have some great options for 2020, but we do already have our 2021 dates up on the website for next year. And we do reward guests who are booking early for the next year. So if you are thinking about joining us next year instead of in 2020, definitely recommend booking by probably about early August, because that's when we typically will have a price increase on select trips for 2021. We, just for attending this presentation, there is a promo code that is exclusive for you that will get you up to $200 off your trip with us. So we will be emailing out this coupon code, so don't feel like you have to jot it down, but you certainly can if you'd like. And then Kim, I don't know if you want to just touch on a little bit of how Classic Travel can assist with, not just booking these trips, but also just in booking any other travel plans.
Yeah. If for those that haven't had the pleasure of, oh, gotta get someone else in the waiting room, just a moment. Hello, welcome everyone. Just talking about how we can help. Obviously, I do encourage you to go to the Trek Travel website to look at all the itineraries. There's some amazing ones. If you don't want to get in a plane, and there's some great East Coast trips. There's some to the Kentucky area for like a Bourbon Trail, and through the mountains of North Carolina, up north in Vermont. There's plenty of stuff that's great for 2020. This code does work into bookings for 2021. We can help, and that would hopefully bring in the more of an international flavor. So if you're itching to see Croatia or these amazing itineraries that Trek Travel has, do allow yourself to dream of travel once again, and then give us a call. We are going to help get you there safely. We'll make your plane arrangements. If you want to stay a little bit on the front end to explore, we can do some pre-stay fun. You want to hang out, work hard, play hard, and stay a little bit on the back end and tour some other areas or something close by. We can certainly make that happen for you. So it's a bit of a one-stop shop, which is nice. We'll just take care of you at a collaboration with Trek Travel from start to finish. So give me a call, or if you want to just book direct, you can certainly do that and take advantage of this code if you know exactly what you want. We just want people to get back out there. This is a great way to combine biking, which is in this very uncertain time. The one thing that's still certain is that biking is a lot of fun, and it just seems to be adventure travel in general, just a safe, interesting way to achieve travel. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, we've got the chat feature down at the bottom. Feel free to write that out. Otherwise, as we mentioned earlier, I am recording this. I'm happy to send it out to y'all at the end of this in the next day or so, along with the code for the promotion, in addition to the incentives that Trek Travel is already offering. And a lot of these pre and post stays, I'm sure you've read, and it's true. There's a lot of value add opportunities right now, some incentives to get people out traveling again. Be it through the airlines or some of the resorts in a safe, new way. So it's our job to help navigate that. So fire away if y'all have any questions.
And I do already see one here, just asking about East Coast trips. And Ethan, thanks for mentioning that. There's, so as Kim mentioned before, there's Vermont. We offer both a 4-day Vermont getaway as well as a 6-day trip. And we have those departures running basically the summer through the fall, and still have availability there. We have our Asheville to Brevard trip. Again, we have a 4-day getaway option there, just staying in Asheville. And then the 6th day goes out to Brevard and stays at this awesome place called Pilot Cove, which you get your own little cabin, and we have a campfire with s'mores. It's just kind of a really nice contrast. We also have a trip to Blackberry Farm, which is in the fall, which is located in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, and just ultimate in luxury farm to table experience. And then we have Greenville, South Carolina, which is one of our ride camps, and those dates we have in the fall as well. Again, avid level trip, and Greenville is just a great cycling destination with really great road quality. Plenty of East Coast options. I know some of those places might be still a little bit of a drive, but a lot of them do offer parking options for your car. Then there's also a question about bringing your own bike. You are absolutely welcome to bring your own bike, especially if you end up driving and you're spending some extra time there anyways. You're welcome to do so. We would just ask, we have a kind of a checklist of things that we would recommend you doing before the trip, just to make sure that your bike's in safe condition. So just getting a tune-up before the trip and bringing any spare parts or tools that you might need. And there is no discount for bringing your own bike, so we always encourage people to use one of ours just to save yourself the hassle. But we obviously understand that some people just really love their personal bikes. But what's really nice is that our guides are all trained through Trek in their pro bike fit. So we actually have 3 simple measurements that you can take on your bikes at home that you can submit before the trip. And then our guides will actually dial those bikes according to your measurements before you even get there. And then they'll do a very comprehensive fit with you on the first day of the trip to make sure that you're comfortable before you head out on your first day's ride. And then there's a question about bike trips on rail trails or off-road. Yes, we definitely have those. We have in Girona, Spain, we actually have a gravel trip. So you actually are just riding on gravel. There are a few destinations like Glacier National Park. Our Under Canvas trip does ride on a fair amount of gravel as well. And then there are, while there's no specific trips that are like rail trails, a lot of our trips will travel on some really well-maintained bike paths as part of the trip. So our Yellowstone and Grand Tetons trip, as you ride through Grand Teton National Park, there's a really amazing bike path that runs parallel to the main road and is really smooth quality. And we do spend a fair amount of time on that in addition to the roads. And then we have our, trying to think what else would be very specific. Oh, Santa Barbara. Our Santa Barbara trips also spend a fair amount of time on some really well-maintained bike paths. Those are just a few that I think of off the top of my head. We used to offer mountain biking trips, but believe it or not, they just weren't super popular. So we do still have those itineraries available should you want them to be more custom, but we just don't offer them publicly anymore. But we have several of those available if you want to put a group together to do some mountain biking. Any other questions? Well, if you do think of any, so I just popped up both myself and Kim's contact information. Again, we'll be sending you out an email following up after this, just to all the participants with that promo code for the coupon. And then, so if you do have any other further questions or just want to chat fun trips, I mean, as Kim mentioned, I've been on 5 of these myself. I've been to Croatia, Costa Brava, California wine country, Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, and then we had a partnership with Scenic River Cruises, and I did a river cruise along the Danube where we stayed on board the ship and then rode our bikes each day. Oh, and somebody's asking what my favorite trip was. And I would have to say it's really a toss-up between, I mean, Croatia I just loved because every day I could basically end my bike ride with a dip in the sea. If you really like being by the water like I do, I think both Costa Brava and Croatia were great in that regard. But Croatia, truly every day you have sea views. And it's just, the people are amazing, the food's amazing, and the wine actually blew me away there too. And then the Yellowstone and Grand Teton trip, I had just never been to Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. And so just seeing the Teton Mountain Range, I mean, that just blew me away because every day that was basically in the background of our rides, and we just saw so much wildlife. So it's kind of like that favorite child question, it's hard to pick one, but if I had to pick, those 2 are probably my top 2. I know I'm already itching for my next one.
Oh yeah. It has been encouraging. People are definitely, the phone's ringing a bit more. People are like, okay, where can we go? Where is it safe? So this is.
Yeah, our first 3 destinations that we've greenlit based on the, how many cases are in the area and the setup of the trip, and us feeling confident we can maintain really good social distancing, would be South Dakota, our Under Canvas trip that, as I mentioned, we just started running this week. Then the next ones will be Oregon Crater Lake and then Glacier National Park, and Yellowstone and Grand Teton should follow pretty quickly after those as well. So lots of domestic national park trips, perfect opportunities. And yeah, we're just excited to, again, get people back on bikes and doing what we love.
Well, I won't take any more of your time. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to dial in. I hope you learned something. If nothing else, just a chance to sit back and relax and dream of travel again. Would love to get you out on a bike somewhere, be it nearby or far away next year. Give us a call. If there's anything I can do to help, don't hesitate. Like I said, I've recorded this. I'll push it out along with a follow-up email to other participants with that promo code. Feel free to share this recording with any of your biking buddies that weren't able to call in. I did have a couple people that had to jump off and have already asked for me to forward it. So feel free to do so. But again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Y'all take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.